What's going on, guys? So yeah, I'm just kind of hanging out over by my spot that I have over by me, local area near here. Just because sometimes I love my family, but I live in a one-story home, and um like some topics and things that I just don't want to hear my family always hearing me discuss, because then later on I'd have to either talk to them about it or some shit, and some things I just rather keep to me, you know what I mean? And irony is that, they could see this video if they really wanted to, but I just wanted to get back into what I was talking about before. Well, I might as well just restart from where from the beginning. Well, I was going into pretty much about the job market right now has been absolutely chewing me up and spitting me out. And I have some qualifications that I have, mostly certifications. I have some college experience. I went to college. I did not like my degree of choice that I went in for. Essentially, I didn't have some pretty good professors as well that I was dealing with at the time. And balancing between 4 to 5 classes was a lot of pressure, including with work. So with all these variables that added up, that didn't really work out so well for me. However, I do want to go back in, but obviously do some homework, doing my due diligence here before I just go ahead and commit to any other degree, because we already know that you could just go into college for any degree of choice that you want, and you are not guaranteed, obviously, a job in the job market. Now, you could be qualified and put above other people, but as well as your expertise, specialized knowledge, and things like that get accounted for from employers, you may not get selected for a job. However, that's not the whole point of this video here. The whole point is that I put in about close to 65 applications in about a month. Since my previous job, I had some work complications with a coworker of mine. Did not work out so well for me. I had tried to go into unemployment and to file for my benefits, and my benefits are still on hold right now. They're still reviewing it after so long, which, by the way, I could hardly get into contact with these people at all. Calling them in the morning is like already blocks out the just phone connection, disconnect as soon as you make the call. That's happened numerous times to me in the past few days. So essentially, I just kind of like fell and gave up on it right now. And I know people will be like, what are you doing, man? Why are you doing that? You should be going after those benefits because you still have benefits. I understand that, but how can I get in contact with the people when they can't even pick up the phone line? So that just had made me push more and more to getting employment faster. I'm about a 27-year-old guy. And right now I am studying for certifications for CompTIA A+, and eventually I would like to go into Network Plus and Security Plus, because my passion is actually now going into cybersecurity field. I find it going to be increasingly needed throughout our lifetimes now, especially these data breach attacks, the zero-click malware that we have. Some things, obviously, that we can't prevent exactly by one cybersecurity team member or even a lead teams of people. Some things are just nationwide and done, well, intentionally. And I could get into more detail about that, but really my whole point is that I'd like to say that it's really, really hard out here to just land something. Even an entry-level job at this point is just ridiculously insane. Like I don't understand, man. Like I've applied for grocery stores and other retail places, Five Belows and Best Buys, and Bed Bath and Beyond, and if that's still a thing. I've just applied to any of the big brand name stores that you may know. Now, some of them have gotten contact back with me for interviews, which is great. Usually that's a good indicator that, potentially I could get employed. But I'm just really nervous, man. It's not even just about the employment either at this point. Like, I need to get a job. I need to get some work in. Obviously, I have some bills and expenses the way most of us all do. But I'm just really worried about saving and investing and actually having a retirement for the future, man. I mean, I've been looking at these BLS reports that, that are published on our government websites, man, and just, I mean, the cost of livings, man. I know some people will be like, well, it's going to get lower. Some people want to tackle and drop it all on Trump with the tariffs and this and that. I'm no expert in economics, so my word doesn't mean shit when it comes to that. But all I can tell you is, looking at the stats and the data that's been presented to me, it's really challenging, man. I just don't even know how I could even manage to get through it. That $52,000 is the median average, apparently, salary in the United States. And about 50% of people make that. And according to the other 50%, make below that. And I, for one, right now, qualify in that category. But man, just to even redeem yourself, you know what I mean? To have a future for yourself is just becoming so increasingly hard. Being a younger guy, I'm 27 now, so my eyes are starting opening up and looking at how all this data, and not only data, but all the world events and economics and politics ties in and correlates to each other, because at the end of the day, it's falling on the lay people, man, like us, the regular schmegular folks that make up the economy, and I'm really worried. I'm really worried what this means for me, what this means for my generation. I know people in my generation, like I know some people that are around my age that already have families. I know some people that only have girlfriends or a wife, and they're already struggling on 2 incomes alone, sometimes just to afford their home that they just brought out for mortgage or a rental. Rentals have been just increasingly exploding here on the East Coast. For example, I used to live in New Jersey, and the massive amounts of building and infrastructure that they keep adding into the state, and now we got Netflix moving in over there, and they're trying to make it like the new Hollywood studios over there, has like kind of been affecting like everything, man. Like, I mean, over where I used to live, I lived over by the Jersey Shore area. So I remember, if we could go back about 10 years ago, it was about $1,200, $1,300 would get you, about a 1 bed, 1 bath, in some places, depending where it is, a 2 bed and 1 bath. Yeah, good luck with that shit now, buddy. I mean, even a studio today is like about $1,900 I saw on Zillow. Again, this depends on exact regions of areas. That's how it's all affected, but I'm just giving the shore prices over here. A 1 bedroom, 1 bath was a fucking $2,400. That's not including utility, water, electric. Nothing is provided with that. Partially furnished with oven, stove, and refrigerator, of course, but, and HVAC. But again, that's not included. And 2 bedroom, 1 bath could be just as high as like $3,000 and up. I mean, who is qualifying for this? Like, even if you're at the highest percentile of your job title, I mean, yeah, you'll be making it, but we're not all going to obviously be the highest percentile of our wages that we make in our salaries that we gain, you know what I mean, every year. So exactly how am I supposed to compete with this, you know what I mean? And it becomes more of an increasingly struggle amongst like just the population. We're constantly influx growing and dying all the time, but where are we going to house everybody? That's always been a dilemma that we're facing too for the future, is like, where is everybody going to be, living? Obviously the family sized home, in a residential neighborhood, that's the property values for that shit. I wonder where that's going to be another 10 years from now. And really, how are we going to compete? You know what I mean? We're already competing against each other just to get normal living, man. And it's just like absolutely insane. I can't verbatim go off of the whole entire BLS data sheet, of course, not ChatGPT here. But you could look up all this stuff for yourself, and just between that and looking at cybersecurity, again, I want to go into it because people need to understand something, that your data is being harvested, collected, and sold on a daily basis, and it's being personalized, targeted to data brokers so that they can advertise to you on personal products and whatnot. Not only just that, but sometimes all this data that gets collected and it's stored away into areas of the internet that you just don't want it to be on. Unfortunately, a lot of us, millions, even actually billions of us, have been involved in at least one or more data breaches in our lifetimes, from websites that we subscribe to, user information that we have tied to the site. Unfortunately, all that stuff gets into an attack. Hackers get into it, and they take all that, they extrapolate all of that information and put it into one gigantic spreadsheet, which technically is a link to you. It's a link to your public life. And from that one link alone can lead to a chain of links. Think of like a necklace, it's made out of links to form a whole necklace. Well, you just keep adding a link each time, and that increasingly gets more information and stuff that you might not want to have, like your birth certificate or your, God forbid, your social security number gets exposed. In worst cases, people install a shady third-party software system on their device or their laptop per se, or desktop, whichever your choice. And they don't check, obviously, if there's any malware or any virus that's attached to it. That's why they always warn, at your own risk, if you download anything on a browser from a software, because you just don't fucking know, man, what's really on that. And that could lead into remote access information and keyloggers to get into your computer, man, and they can see what you type, or they could even possibly just tune into your webcam and just record you without you even knowing. You don't even need to see a recording red dot flash, man. They're just there. And so that's some scary shit. I don't know about you guys, but that pisses me the fuck off, and a lot of us are just passively letting it go. I don't understand why people aren't more proactive about privacy alone. Some people want to demonize privacy and say, well, it's only like a criminal activity type of thing. Why do you need privacy? What are you trying to hide? Well, what I would want to hide is that information, my social security information, or how about my fucking tax returns that I have saved off as PDF files onto my device? I have to always store them away on a private storage setup. I can't just leave them onto the desktop alone, because can't trust anything, man. Honestly, I sound crazy. I am skeptical, and I think it's normal to be skeptical. And I apologize if I'm spitting a million miles a second here. Um, but I just really, I'm very passionate about that because I don't like seeing people, especially good, hardworking people, have their whole entire lives compromised from some shithead and stores all their personal shit and then uses it as some sort of ransom later on, threatening that they must pay in Bitcoin to receive all this information back. And once it's compromised, you don't know if they stay to that promise or not, So that's just one thing that I just wanted to bring up with you guys. I know I went on to a lot of different topics all at once, but I hope that I really do hope that things do get better. So far, just the way society is today, man, it's just so incredibly frustrating just to make it anymore. And even people are going so far as to say like they want to leave the country. And I love this country. I'm a proud patriot. I have 2 uncles that served in the military and both were firefighters. I have known great people in my life that have been successful in the past, and they've made the American dream in this country. And the American dream is just continuously getting a little bit harder, it seems like to me, just to make it. And I don't think that this generation, my generation, Gen Z, I'm not speaking for all of us, but I'm speaking for a good portion of us that don't realize that, you could be in a financial trap, man. The poor decisions that you make in your 20s sometimes can lead into your 30s, into your 40s, depending on how severe financially you fuck yourself over. For example, I know my buddy, he landed himself into $20K in credit card debt alone. Had opened up 4 or 5 credit lines to his name. And I had warned him, I said to him, listen, man, just be careful and make sure that you can make those payments by the end of the month, because the APR fucking interest rates on these things alone will tear you and shred you to fucking pieces, man. I mean, I get hit with these promo cards all the time in my fucking mail, and it's annoying as shit because I know I'm not going to use them, but they send them anyway in the mailers, and they're like 30% APR rate. And a lot of people don't even understand that because, another thing is education. Where did you go to school to, I know I'm jumping from fucking topic to topic, man, but I'm telling you, everything has some cause and effect. And I definitely believe these institutions and these ways of these predatory lending strategies or predatory credit card strategies are being pushed on us because we were never taught. Not all of us, but if you went to public school, money was not a very big topic. Now, I have cousins that are still in school and they're talking about personal finance now, which they fucking should have been doing decades before. But now they're starting to get money management courses, which when I went to public school, I didn't have that shit. Nobody told me how to make money or anything like that, and including my parents' generation too. They weren't told anything about money. And it literally had fucked us into a hole like this way, because now we are stuck, you know what I mean? And I've known people having to do bankruptcy, and then they have a fresh, clean slate from debt, but now they can't even qualify if they want to be a renter. There's stipulations. I don't know if it's on a state-by-state basis of how all that works, but literally, these moves, all these choices affect you. Bottom line, it's a butterfly effect, man. And so, I really hope that one day I'd really love to see us all make it, man. I honestly, I wish to see prosperous times where, we could be out in public. Like I miss being like a kid, man, like as an adult, man, and thrown into the real world. It's just so fucking frustrating because you have to work. Obviously you got to make that bread and butter, or else you're not going to be eating. You're not going to be living properly. You're not going to be able to shower or have rent or a home and all these things, obviously. And you could see how it wears on us, man. Like, being an adult is just like, it's like a blessing, and it's a blessing and a curse. You know what I mean? You have the independency to do what you want to do in this world now. You know, you're an adult, but at the same time, like, just trying to have a social life as well amongst other people as an adult. You know what I mean? It just gets slower and slowly cut off, man. Like, I remember being a teenager, I used to have dozens of friends. Now I have like 2 great close friends, and I'm grateful for having those 2 people in my life, and I have a family. But just to like to go out in public and to mingle and to like meet new people sometimes seems to be so challenging. You know what I mean? Because everybody has something going on. Everybody has some sort of drama or baggage or, you know, trauma as well that's, you know, affecting them, and it's affecting their mentally, you know, it's affecting them mentally. You know, we go out to the grocery store, we drive about anywhere, and you just see so many fucking miserable people, man. Like, when I was a kid, you know, everything was smiling, and now it's starting to make sense to me of all the people in my life that told me enjoy being a kid while you're still a kid, you know. And because, yeah, once you get thrown out here, I mean, honestly, it's frustrating. Well, anyway, guys, I had enough of partially as well rambling. I hope that, you know, if you could relate to this message, just let me know, you know, text me, comment me, whatever. I'm trying to figure out some cool content ideas that I could add to this channel. Maybe eventually along the lines, I'd like to add some cyber stuff as well. One step at a time. I'm still a novice to anybody. I'm not going to say that I'm some expert. Okay, I'm not going to fucking lie. I'm not an expert. But if I find something that's valuable and that's worth sharing, I'll definitely let you guys know. So, yeah, and if you have any suggestions for topics that you might want to talk about, you could drop those in the comments too, or I think there's a way you could privately message me on here. So, peace out, and I hope you have a great night.